The ranks continues. The N.J. Dawood translation of Al-Quran. In the name of Allah, the compassionate, the merciful, I swear by those who range themselves in ranks, by those who cast out demons, and by those who recite the word that your God is one, the Lord of the heavens and the earth, and all that lies between them, the Lord of the eastern regions. And while we find out elsewhere it's both the east and the west, but sometimes the attention is drawn one place or the other. There was this idea of the air coming from the east. So the people who had that sort of thing, this would have addressed them. Elemental directions, the air being east in this case. This chapter is very good for exorcism, particularly that opening part. We have decked the lower heaven with constellations. They guard it against rebellious devils, so that they may not listen. Into those on high, meteors are hurled at them from every side, then driven away. They are consigned to an eternal scourge. Eavesdroppers are pursued by fiery comets. Ask the unbelievers if they deem themselves of a nobler make than the rest of our creation. Of course, clay, we created them. Now, the lowest heaven in the Islamic view is the one with all the stars and stuff, that those billions or even trillions of light years across, as far as we know. Definitely like about 21 billion years across. We wonder, how fast can the jinn travel? Like some believers, that they deem themselves of a nobler make than the rest of our creation. Of course, clay, we created them. You marvel why they scoff. When they are warned, they take no warning. When they are shown a sign, they mock at it and say, this is but plain sorcery. What, when we are dead and turned to dust and bones? Shall we be raised to life? We and our forefathers say yes, and you shall be utterly humbled. One blast will sound, and they shall see it all. Woe to us. They will exclaim, this is the day of reckoning. This is the judgment day which you denied. But we shall say, call the sinners, their spouses and idols, which they worship besides the law, and lead them to the path of hell. Keep them there for questioning. But what has come over you that you could not help each other? On that day they will all surrender themselves. They will reproach each other, saying, you have imposed upon us. No, it was you who would not be believers. We had no power over you. You were sinners all. Just is the verdict which our Lord has passed upon us. We shall surely taste the scourge. We misled you, but we ourselves have been misled. On that day, they will all share in the scourge. And thus shall we deal with the evildoers. For when they were told, there is no deity but Allah, they replied with scorn, are we to renounce our gods for the sake of a mad poet? Surely he has brought the truth, confirming those who were sent before. You shall all taste the grievous scourge. You shall be rewarded according to your deeds. But the true servants of Allah shall be well provided for, feasting on fruit and honored in the gardens of delight, reclining face to face upon soft couches. They shall be served with a goblet filled at a gushing fountain, white and delicious to those who drink it. It will neither dull their senses nor befuddle them. They shall sit with the bashful, dark-eyed virgins, as chaste as the sheltered eggs of ostriches. They will put questions to each other. One will say, I had a friend who used to ask, do you really believe when we are dead and turned to dust and bones, shall we ever be brought to judgment? And he will say, come, let us look down. He will look down and see his friend in the very midst of hell. By the Lord, he will say to him, you almost ruined me, but for the grace of Allah, I should have surely been called up myself. Shall we never die again, having died once, and shall we never be punished at all? Surely that is the supreme triumph. To this end, let every good man labor. Is this not a better welcome than the Zakkum tree? The stifling, kind of like what happens with the cold, but we have made this tree a scourge for the unjust. It grows in the nethermost part of hell, bearing fruit like devil's heads. On it they shall feed, and with it they shall cram their bellies, together with draughts of scalding water. Then to hell they shall return. They found their fathers erring, yet they eagerly followed in their footsteps. Most of the ancients went astray before them, though we had sent apostles to give them warning. Consider the fate of those whom we have warned. They perished all, except Allah's true servants. Noah prayed to us, and his prayers were graciously answered. We delivered him and all his tribe from the mighty scourge, and made his descendants the sole survivors. We bestowed on him the praise of latter generations. Peace be upon Noah among all humanity. Thus do we reward the righteous. He was one of our believing servants. The others we peremptorily drowned. Abraham was one of the self-same faith and came to his Lord with a pure heart. He said to his father and to his people, "What are these that you worship? Would you serve false deities instead of Allah? What think you of the Lord of the universe?" He lifted up his eyes to the stars and said, "I am sick." And his people turned their backs and went off. He stole away to their idols and said to them, "Will you not eat your offerings? Why do you not speak?" With that he fell upon them, striking them down with his right hand. The people came running to the scene. "Would you worship that which you have carved with your own hands?" He said, "When it was Allah who created you and all that you have made." They replied, "Build up a fire and cast him into the blazing flames." Thus did they scheme against him, but we abased them all. He said, "I will take refuge with my Lord. He will give me guidance. Lord, grant me a righteous son." We gave him news of a gentle son, and when he reached the age when he could work with him, his father said to him, "My son, I dreamt that I was sacrificing you. Tell me what you think." He replied, "Father, do as you are bidden. Allah willing, you shall find me steadfast." And when they had both submitted to Allah's will, and Abraham laid down his son, prostrate upon his face, we called out to him, saying, "Abraham, you have fulfilled your vision, and thus do we reward the righteous." That was indeed a bitter test. We ransomed his son with the noble sacrifice and bestowed on him the praise of latter generations. Peace be upon Abraham. Now you don't see that Abraham was given the vision by God, and he was rewarded for not doing the vision. Thus do we reward the righteous. He was one of our believing servants. Now if God had commanded, he wouldn't be righteous for not doing it. We gave him Isaac, a saintly prophet, and blessed them both. Among their offspring were some who did good works and others who clearly sinned against their souls. We showed favor to Moses and to Aaron and delivered them with all their people from the mighty scourge. We succored them and they became victorious. We gave them the glorious book and guided them to the straight path. We bestowed on them the praise of latter generations. Peace be upon Moses and Aaron. Thus do we reward the righteous. They were two of our believing servants. We also sent forth Elias, who said to his people, "Have you no fear? Would you invoke Baal and forsake the most gracious creator? Allah is your Lord and the Lord of your forefathers." Adayahu mentioned in 1 Kings 18, verse 17 to 21. And people would believe, and nowadays people believe that Baal is the entity of invisibility, arrogance, taking others as Lord, over 66 legions of devils, that sort of thing. But they rejected him and will thus be called to account. Not so Allah's true servants. We bestowed on him the praise of latter generations. Peace be upon Elias. Thus do we reward the righteous. He was one of our believing servants. Lot was also sent with a message. We delivered him and all his kinsfolk, except for an old woman who stayed behind and utterly destroyed the others. You passed by their ruins morning and evening. Will you not take heed? Jonah was also sent with a message. He fled to the laden ship, cast lots, and was condemned. The whale swallowed him, for he had done amiss and had he not devoutly praised the Lord, he would have stayed in its belly till the day of resurrection. We threw him gravely ill upon a desolate shore, and caused a gourd tree to grow over him. And thus we sent to him a nation 100,000 strong or more. They believed in him, and we let them live in ease a while. Ask the unbelievers if it be true that Allah has daughters. When they themselves choose sons, did we create the angels female? And were they present at their creation? Surely they lie when they declare Allah has begotten children. Would he choose daughters rather than sons? Would what has come over you that you should judge so ill? Will you not take heed? Have you a positive proof? Show us your scriptures if what you say be true. They assert kinship between him and the jinn, but the jinn well know that they will all be called to account. Exalted be Allah above their imputations. Not so Allah's true servants, neither you nor your idols shall deceive any about Allah, save him who is destined for hell. We each have our appointed place. We range ourselves in adoration and give glory to him. They say, had we received an admonition from the ancients, we would have become Allah's true servants, yet they disbelieve in all Quran. They shall before long know the truth. Long ago we promised the apostles who served us that they would receive our help and that our enemies would be victorious. So give no heed to them a while. You will surely see their downfall as they shall see your triumph. Do they wish to hurry on our scourge? Dismal shall be that morning when it smites them in their courtyards. Forewarned though they have been, so pay no heed to them a while. You will surely see their downfall as they shall see your triumph. Exalted be your Lord, the Lord of glory, above their imputations. Peace be upon the apostles, and praise to Allah, Lord of the universe. And the royal we, sometimes it involves angels, sometimes the forces of nature itself. Some people don't understand the reference, but because what's going to be worshipped alone? God. So it's not saying that there's different gods. And even the Bible, a lot of what people mistake as that is along those lines.